Hello, Assalamu alaikum everybody. This is Dr. Kiran Hashmi once again with yet another exciting session on learning management, physical versus virtual classrooms from the Skillers Educational Consultancy. We have with us today an educationist who was a colleague earlier. We studied together, but he was obviously senior than me, completed his PhD, and now, mashallah, he is working in an international university in Saudi Arabia, Dr. Najeeb Saqlain Durrani. Dr. Najeeb is an assistant professor there. He is also taking care of research and accreditation. So he's here and he will mainly be talking about how teachers can actually use the learning management, the online learning management today. So I'm just introducing Dr. Najeeb here to all of you. So Dr. Najeeb, welcome. Thank you very much for taking out time from Saudi Arabia, and we are here connected together in Pakistan. So could you please introduce yourself to everybody?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. I'm Dr. Najeeb Saqlain. I have been teaching in Majma University in Riyadh in English department for the last 5 years, and I'm head of accreditation unit and research unit also. And usually I look after the courses of linguistics and more specifically applied linguistics, because here we have 3 or 4 different segregations. Like, for example, we have first of all literature, which is not my ball game anymore. Then we have theoretical linguistics, applied linguistics, and translation. Translation is a new field. Usually in our part of the world, we do not have translation. Here we have specialized degree in translation, that is translation from English to Arabic and vice versa. And this degree is quite famous in this Gulf region. And then we have different parts in translation as well, but because this case is usually taught by native Arab speakers, so I don't go into that. And of course, this scenario for the last 3-4 months, when we have unfortunately this COVID-19, so this online learning, online teaching, online schooling has become a new normal. And I thought that it would be better to talk about the hiccups in online learning management from teachers' point of view. Of course, parents would take a lot of help from this as well, but teachers usually take this form of teaching learning, if you allow me to say that, as laborious, monotonous, passive, or boring. So why is it is like that? Like, I remember when we are in holiday mood, like we are enjoying summer vacations these days still. But before that, when we were having a last semester, it was the most boring thing for me to once we are in at home, we sleep late and then we wake up early. My class used to be at 8 o'clock early in the morning. For me, I used to wake up, I used to log on, and then how to keep myself motivated at the same time, how to keep my students motivated. These students are different than Pakistani students, honestly speaking. These students are same as online as in physical classroom, honestly speaking. So it was a tough ask for me. So I thought that it's a good idea to talk about how to feel online learning, rather online teaching learning, as interesting, to make it interactive. One more thing before we come to the topic is that in our universities, we do not have a lot of culture of sharing video chat by the students. So we were only relying on their audio in our virtual classroom. That was even more difficult. I did not want to use this term insult to injury, but it was more boring to only have interaction through audio. So how can we make it interesting? That was my idea for today's talk.
Right. Thank you very much for an introduction, Dr. Najeeb. The viewers are now joining us. Just a little reminder, everybody, we will be having question answers as always at the end. But please feel free to write your comments, your feedback, your queries in the comment box, and we will definitely be taking up. Now, just a reminder to all those who have just joined us, today's session is basically on learning management, which is more of a transition from on conventional classrooms to online classrooms. Dr. Najeeb will basically be shedding light today on three important aspects of online teaching and learning. One is about what online learning management is. So his major focus today is on introducing and orienting you all with what online management is all about. Then the second thing is will basically be introducing you all to and talking about it. What is the role of teachers these days in this online management system? And the third, and of course the last and the most important part, is the transition that we are actually taking these days, moving from conventional to online, the challenges, the opportunities, and also the upcoming problems that we will encounter, and how together as an educated community we will work. So please feel free to write your comments. Please feel free to share your queries. We will be taking it up. And in case if you have anything to add in, this platform is all for all of you. Please feel free to share. So now I am handing over the mic to Dr. Najeeb. Over to you, Dr. Top. Please share. I'm putting you on the solo screen, and I will also be sharing the comments in between whenever they will appear. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hashmi. First of all, I would like to thank you to take me online for this session. Whatever knowledge I have, I would like to share with you. Let's start with learning management. First thing is that learning management and educational management are two terms that we usually use. Sometimes, not all the time, not everyone, but sometimes some people consider these two terms as synonyms, but they are not actually. Learning management is actually capacity to design and implement pedagogic strategies to achieve learning outcomes from students. What does it mean? It seems bookish. It means artful arrangement of resources. To be very simple, to be very straight, it means artful arrangement of resources, whatever resources we are with. Now, educational management includes educational administration too. Educational management includes school management. It includes the roles that administrators of schools need to have. Educational management is typically teachers' tasks, and learning management. Sorry, learning management is typically teachers' tasks. Educational management is more of administrative level. Of maybe in different schools there are different tiers or different levels. Like for example, principal or vice principals or course coordinators or section heads, etc., etc. That is educational management. Learning management is typical between teachers and parents. There are two stakeholders, absolutely. To me, there are two stakeholders of learning management: teachers as well as parents. My kids, when we were in Pakistan, my kids were studying in a school, and I don't find it problematic to name the school. My kids were in the AMI school, and I consider it as one of the good schools in the city. These days, those people are doing very good in learning management, because they have to keep the interest level intact from students' point of view as well. Before we come to the transition from a physical classroom to a virtual classroom, let's have a little not discussion, but let me just point out some roles from teachers. We all know it is just to make the connection. Otherwise, we all know the role of teachers. Like for example, there are so many roles. Teachers are not supposed to adopt all the roles simultaneously at the same time in the class. They are not supposed to adopt all the roles necessarily. They can pick and choose, and we can think of what role we are supposed to adopt and what role we need to skip now, because these roles have been introduced for long. Like for example, the first role that usually books come up with is a controller. Now, controller is a word now that we do not use. It's a term that we do not use anymore for teachers. Teachers, to me, I usually use straight words. Teachers are not supposed to be controllers at any level, anywhere in the world. Teachers are not supposed to be controllers. Controller is a boss, and teachers are no more bosses. We all know that. So moving ahead, organizer. Organizer. Now, it's very simple to say that teachers are supposed to be organizers. Organizing what? Yeah, we all know. Just going through it. First of all, teachers need to organize environment. I'm talking about physical classrooms. From here, we'll transit to a virtual classroom. First of all, teachers usually organize environment. What environment? Environment for teaching learning. What kind of environment is congenial? What kind of environment is supportive to teaching? It also depends on the student's age group, what kind of learning strategies teachers are supposed to or they need to take on, and accordingly they try to create environment.
Yeah, it
That's right,
says
I agree. Yes,
even
yes,
bosses
I
should
agree.
not be controllers. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. It will be another topic maybe for future, boss versus leader or whatever. But this is a very orthodox kind of topic. But yes, I absolutely agree with the. I have to switch my glasses to read the name. Huma. Yes, I need to. I have to be agreeing with Huma, Zille Huma, that yes, bossing around is no teaching. Absolutely, whatever the case may be, teaching, no teaching, organization, institution, whatever. Anyways, now comes to organizing the learners. Again, it's important to organize the learners. Organizing the learners may also include organizing the classroom, organizing the groups, managing the groups in the class. It depends on what subject are we teaching, what age group are we addressing to. Then we have organizing activities. The most important thing is in activities is organizing time. Of course, time management. Yes, that's right. Time management is important. I remember when I started my career, I usually ran short of time. I usually used to leave the activity without a follow-up after the activity, which is to me is one of the most important aspects of these activities. So we have to organize time. We have to organize activities if we are introducing some kind of uh, um, handouts or some kinds of discussion groups or something. We have to organize them. Most importantly, not at this level of private education, but honestly speaking, once I was invited in a public sector training institute many years ago, and they told me, the director, uh, he told me in Karachi, he told me that do not talk about difficult things. Talk about managing yourself as a teacher. Why? Because I'm quoting him that he is a PhD now. Dr. Hashmi might be knowing him. His name is Dr. Sehto. Excuse me. He told me that teachers need to manage themselves to portray as teachers. And he said that sometimes there is no physical difference between a teacher and a janitor or a teacher and a peon. So managing myself physically, managing myself in punctuality. Sometimes teachers are late, and when a student comes late after the teacher, they are so harsh on them. So they have to manage themselves as well. Organizing records, that's the part of administration to me, and I don't consider that as long as the attendance thing is concerned. But yes, sometimes we have sessional marks, sometimes we have quizzes, assignments, presentation. So we need to organize proper records for each student. Organizing resources, that's also important. Organizing resources, we need to organize whatever resources we have. We cannot always complain against complain for lack of resources or whatever resources we have to manage them, organize them. Then a very important role is for teacher is assessor. And I'm sure most of you will agree with me, if not all of you, that assessing what is a difficult question. Some more orthodox point of view is that usually teachers assess students as examination, but this is not the only type of assessment. We all know assessment techniques and how to be assessor, and it will be a long topic. But to be an assessor is a technical and an important aspect of teacher. When we need to assess teachers, students' learning, of course, there are different ways, there are different types of assessment, and teachers need to know their role as assessment. One thing that I would like to mention here, I'm working on my book as well, Contemporary Education. Till now, the name is Contemporary Education. At the end, if I change the name, I don't know. That point, it seems missing. Even here in my university, it seems missing. We do not know the real objectives of the curriculum in use. What curriculum are we using? What are the objectives of that curriculum? Of course, whatever we do in the class needs to connect with the objectives of the curriculum as such, whatever teaching we do in the class. So that is also important. Prompter, of course, prompter. Most of us do that, prompter for students. Participant. There's another role, there is participant, which means that teachers, of course, if teacher is not a controller, he can be a participant in teaching learning. As we all know, that now we do not even call it teaching learning, we call it learning, of course, because we as teachers become the participant in learning, and we as teachers become the participants with the students, even in the activities. That's what I do. Sometimes, I'm teaching in applied linguistics, but here my role is more as teacher for English as a foreign language, because here in this part of the world, students' English is not as good as Pakistan. And I feel happy when I came here first, I realized that Pakistan in education is far ahead of this specific country. And this, I'm not talking about UAE, but in this part of the world, in Saudi Arabia, Pakistan education system, Pakistan students are far ahead. They are, working so hard in their education that here in Saudi Arabia, students are far behind. So we need to be participant in learning. We should not always be teaching as we all do. We don't always teach. Resource. Now, this is a debatable role. Resource. Teacher as a resource. Teacher as the only resource, or teacher as only a prompter, but not resource. It depends on the institution. It depends on the environment. Usually what I do, I work as a resource, but I do not work as the only resource. Here, the students, the learning culture is a bit different than Pakistan. So we need to be resource, but I am not the only resource in the class. So these are some roles, not all the roles. If participants can come up with other roles that usually they adopt in the class, I'll be more than happy to discuss that. These were the roles for physical classroom. Let's come to transition from physical to virtual classroom. First of all, whatever roles we just discussed for teachers, how can we implement these roles, some of these roles, or all of these roles in a virtual classroom. That's a problem. It also depends on what software people are using or the institution is using. Like here in Saudi Arabia, because I am in a public sector university, so these institutions around the kingdom are, of course, governed by the Ministry of Education. So they introduced a kind of software which is called Blackboard Learn, a comprehensive e-learning software. It is not only for giving up assignments and all that, everything including assessment. It is actually only for online teaching. I started using this software for the first time last semester, and it was difficult for me. So they arranged proper workshops for teachers again and again and again, because here there's another problem, that those teachers who are coming from Gulf countries, unfortunately, they are more comfortable in delivering lectures or workshops in their native language, that is Arabic. So it was difficult for me in the beginning to use this software, but I got used to it. But the problem is, how could I use these roles for online teaching? Of course, if we go back, organizing environment. The problem is that at 8 o'clock, when students come and switch on their laptops, they're half asleep, of course, because they have a culture of sleeping late, and of course, when there are no classes, they don't have to drive. So we have to wake them up before actually starting a lecture. If I have a 3-hour class, I have to wake them up. We can honestly use the same kind of ice-breaking activities. If students are sharing their cameras, it's easier. If not, then you have to use the ice-breaking activities in the beginning, maybe for 5 minutes, even if they are using only audio, because in my university, we don't have a culture of sharing video. So they only use audio. Like, for example, Dr. Hashmi, do we have 4, 5, 8 participants with us? Because I want to introduce this kind of activity right now. Okay. Okay. Fine. Okay. Good. So let's do this ice-breaking activity practically, because as Shakespeare said, words, words, words. So no words, words, words. Let's do it practically. I'm sitting in my drawing room. Let me tell you what I can see in my room. I can see a big wall clock, a kind of wall painting, 2 souvenirs, a mirror painting, a curtain at my back. There are some Pakistani cultural things here. You can see we are obsessed with maintaining our Pakistani culture here in Riyadh as well. I can see a window air conditioner. I can see a lamp. I can see a printer. I can see maroon and cream color sofas with me. And I set up some activities for my own kids, like a small microscope and a kind of telescope kind of thing. Teaching literacy in this regard is yeah, that's right. I agree with Numan. So this is where I am sitting. It's a drawing room. So can somebody tell me from the participants, because I cannot see their names, can somebody explain me a couple of things, 2, 3 things maybe, what you can see around in the room? We'll start with Dr. Hashmi. Where are you sitting, Dr. Hashmi? And what?
I was actually writing that only. I can see you, I can see the curtain, and I can see that little artwork hanging on the wall. So it's kind of a little wall hanging. These are the 3 things I can see, and
what you
nothing
can
else.
See, what you can see around you in your room?
At my room, I can see so many things. I can tell you, I can see the door, I can see all the rooms, because I'm sitting in the lounge. So it's a center of my house, and I can see all the rooms, people in the rooms, TV on the wall, freezer, table, my laptop. my mobile in my
Great.
hand, so I can actually see a lot of things. Yes.
Okay, Mr. Noman, can you tell me where are you sitting in which room, living room, drawing room, or whatever study, and what are the things that you can see around you? Couple of things maybe. And if we have the other lady, Ms. Huma, with
Hmm.
us.
Okay, so if Noman, if you are there, and if Huma, if you are there, if you could kindly write, or anybody, there are many people who are listening to us.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just sharing what Huma has written.
Open sky. Wow. Birds. Wall of my. Okay. Oh. Unfortunately, we will not have this facility of terraces in our homes. These are not allowed by the Ministry of Transport. We are like cake-shaped houses. Wall clock, TV, photos, laptop, living. That's great. That's great. Great. Nice. I need one more comment from somebody else.
Yeah.
Then we'll move on.
Yeah, there's so many people who are listening to us right now. So anybody other than these two would like to comment, please, and contribute.
My second point is connected to the same activity. How? Because I knew only two names and the names are not displayed in front of you. So I could name only two people, two participants, Noman and Huma.
Okay,
This is
there's one more
how,
comment. There's one more comment.
okay, I'm in the kitchen. Oh, multitasking. I see.
Yes.
Good
Well,
talking music. Oh,
welcome,
mashallah, mashallah.
Amna. Dr. Najeeb Amna is a regular, mashallah, say a regular viewer. She's always there in all the sessions, contributes, participates, and
That's great.
always there. Welcome, Amna.
That's great. Mashallah. So now I at least know three people. I would appreciate if you, during this session, if you can write just your name, it will be easier for me to connect my next point, which is individualized teaching learning in virtual classroom. Because I know only three names, so I'll be naming only three. But if I can see the names of other participants as well, it will be easier for me to connect this point. Next, now, what happens, Huma, Noman, and the multitasking lady. Sorry, I missed the
Amna.
name.
Amna.
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 Yes. Now these three participants, assuming they are students and they were almost asleep, but now they had to look around, they had to see, they had to write, they had to chat. No more passive online learning. They are into it. This is one activity. You can introduce any other activities like that, only to wake them up, your students. Then once the names are in front of you, of course, after every a few minutes, after a while, you can call the name of a student and asking him or her individually. For example, yes, Noman, I hope there is no problem in anything or any topic or anything you want to say. Anything you do, you understand, you don't understand. This thing, calling students' name, to me is as good as eye contact in a physical classroom. Because when I'm in a classroom, even here, I always ask my students to sit in a way. They can sit in any way. They can bring their drinks. Drinks means they can bring their coffee in the morning at 8 o'clock. They have to have their coffee with them. They are obsessed with drinking coffee here. So in my classroom, there is no restriction. They can bring their coffee. They can bring their gawa. They can bring their tea or whatever. But they have to sit in a way that I can maintain eye contact with all my students and every student. And this technique, calling names, is as good as maintaining eye contact in a physical classroom. So this is individualized teaching learning. Individualized teaching learning means even if there are, let's say, 40 students, 45 students in a class, even then try to call names once at least in your 2-hour lecture or 3-hour class, online class, for each student, so that he does not think of being left out in the lecture. Otherwise, he will become passive. We cannot, I'm assuming that we cannot see them. If you can see them, that's easier. But even if you cannot see them, we have to call, sorry to use this word you again and again. We have to call their names to make them feel a part of the whole activity that's going on. Then, yes, constant engagement of student is a must. Monotonous one-way lecture will make them sleep. At least that's what happens with me in my online class, because we cannot see the students sometimes, although we have a facility that if there's a student who is not active or who is doing something else, disengaging the screen for my software, it will point me out that this student is passive, which means that he has opened another window on his laptop. But we have to have constant participation from students. How? Keep taking students' feedback. Parents who feel inappropriate to join class via video, they join. Yes, Amna, I agree. That's what I was saying, that in my university, nobody is sharing any video lectures, their cameras, because here the culture is that they do not share their cameras. They are only sharing their audio. So what I do, I always call the names of the students every now and then, asking for their feedback. Now, what feedback? For example, if I am talking about the role of teachers, let's talk about the role of parents. Okay, so let me ask Huma first. Do you have any comments, like what do you think should be the role for parents of school going children, not university students? What can be the role of parents in teaching learning? Of course, student is learning on his own using his laptop or whatever software, but what should be the role of parents? Maybe Huma or Noman or Amna, any other participants that I cannot see. What do you think? Role of parents? Any comments? Any idea?
Yeah, I really appreciate if the people, all those who are watching us, can write their comments here, because this is a good opportunity to interact with the presenter, with the facilitator. So we are awaiting your comments, everyone. Please feel free to
And
write and
also,
share.
Dr. Hashmi, you too.
Oh, okay. All right.
You too. You can also give me your feedback, because you're also the participant.
Started receiving the comments,
And you
so
can.
let's share.
All
I'll
right.
just share. Let me just
Yes, sure.
share what Zilli is saying.
To the best of their ability, is completing the task and in learning process. Okay. To facilitate their children to the best of their abilities in completing their task and in learning process. Okay. Kind of general comment. All right. Sometimes some parents come up with this objection that this online teaching for school children, especially for primary students, is a burden on working parents, where both parents are working and the children need mentoring, monitoring that the child. Yes, that's a must. Yes, Numan, I agree. Yes, that's a must. That's what I do with my kids. So the teacher, the parents come up with this objection that sometimes it's not easier for working parents to manage this online learning. I'm a primary teacher, so they help their children in controlling. Yes, this is what I'm talking about. Asking questions through. Yes, this is what I'm talking about. But sometimes both parents are going to their jobs, and at the same time, children are supposed to study online as well. So what can we do? What can we do about this? Participate in the class. Yes. Like for example, my wife and I, if we both are going for our jobs at the same time, my kids are to have online class, how to manage? That's another big task, especially for primary teachers, because they need the parents' guidance all the time. So this is how we can engage. This was just an activity to show how can we engage. We all do that, but this is how we can engage students in during the classroom, asking everybody one by one for their feedback. This will not make them sleep. I know most of the teachers do the same, but I also know that there are some teachers, just a few teachers, who do not do this, who switch on their camera like me and keep talking like me, and they do not engage students. And like what I say always about me is I'm obsessed with talking, and that's what my wife also says. I'm obsessed with talking. My uncle Durrani, who is a teacher as well, he always says that a teacher is the one who is obsessed with teaching. When you give him a mic, he will never leave the mic. So there are some teachers who only talk, one way talking, do not engage students. That will make the class passive listener. So let's come to the next point, which is, why is online teaching considered laborious, or what are the challenges? Of course, all these, like for example, lack of learning environment. I can only maintain learning environment congenial to learning on my end. But here, every participant is sitting in a different environment. Somebody is sitting in his living room, and somewhere the students have their elder brothers, or maybe in if we are talking about university level.
Okay, there's a question, Dr. Adam. Dr. G, would you like to answer now or later?
Just after a couple of minutes only. I have read the question. Use videos during an online class. Okay, I'll just answer that. So we have to maintain the environment on everybody's part, not only us, which is number one, using intonation on your tone. One student knows that the teacher will keep, yes, absolutely, no man, I agree with you. So using your intonation, your tone is very important. Even in a class, let's talk about physical classroom. There are some teachers who never use their intonation, who are absolutely monotone, and the students at the back, like me, who are backbenchers. Yes, I will define it. They always engage themselves in different activities other than teaching. So we need to use our intonation. That's very important. Taking names is important. Curricular and uh, uh, not extracurricular, let's call it co-curricular activities will help in maintaining students' motivation. Co-curricular, for example, not directly related to your topic, but indirectly related to your topic. Ask them about their own experiences, what they do, and blah, blah, blah. Just to make sure that every participant is physically as well as mentally present here in the online class. Okay, so the first question was showing videos. What I assume, if I do not understand this question correct, please correct me, that showing videos other than your lecture as a part of a resource in teaching. That's what I think. Uh, Look, if you ask me honestly, showing videos, it's a resource. We can do that. Showing videos in a class, physical classroom is different, and showing videos online is different. You can show a short video because students will lose their attention, will lose their motivation very quickly in an online class. So if you want to show a video as a resource, show short videos directly related to the topic. For example, very famous management people, change management people videos, very famous video that usually change management people in Pakistan use is "Who moved my cheese?" or "Who moved my cheese again?" So directly related to it, okay, but shouldn't be very long. If you are talking about students showing their own camera on the online class, if there's no problem in that, it is better. You can monitor students as well. It is important to monitor students also. So to me, showing short videos, no problem if it is directly related to the topic and used as a resource. What do I mean by laborious task? Yes, laborious mentally, not physically. Of course, if we are present physically in a classroom, it needs more hard work. But mentally, if you ask me, in the beginning, first month for online teacher, I was the most dissatisfied person, because I could not see my students. I could not realize whether the students are actually there, or they're just listening and saying ha ha, or they are actually gaining something, learning something. I could not have their facial expressions. So to me, it is laborious mentally rather than physically. And we have to keep ourselves motivated as well for the class. We sometimes we start taking it as a duty rather than as something that interests us, especially in my part of the world where students cannot be seen on the cameras. So that's how it is laborious mentally, maybe not physically, but mentally. In Pakistan, there's another thing, that is the lack of resources required for online teaching. Like, for example, internet facilities. Everybody does not have the same kind of internet speed. Load shedding problem, extra unexpected or hard work we had not. And yes, Batul, I agree. If you ask me, online education needs more hard work than physical education. I was talking to my wife, and I was telling her that inshallah from 16th August our summer vacations will end for the university teachers, not for the students, and we'll start going, because I agree that online teaching needs more hard work. It requires more efforts, extra and unexpected hard work. Yes, that's right. And sometimes they come up with comments, like my head of the department. She once said, "Oh, you people are staying at home, so why shouldn't I give you more work of quality control and accreditation and blah blah blah, because you are at home doing nothing?" And everybody got so offended, and everybody said that we are not free. Online education is more difficult than this. I observed that parents. It disappeared. Dr. Hashmi, can you? Yes, I have observed that parents also involve themselves with their child. Yeah, and showing short video, okay, to the topic is good for developing virtual understanding. But I did online games as well by getting my feedback. Very good. Yes, this is a very important and very effective way of teaching children. Um, I just talked about a school in Karachi. I watched one of their posts. I read it, and it was a history class, maybe grade, I don't remember, maybe grade one or something like that, little kids, history class. And each student was given a task of sitting in the same attire of one of a historical figures. Uh, like, one of the students was sitting as a Mughal king or Mughal emperor. So, of course, that will give them some interest. But yes, these activities, games, there was a very good webinar by an Oxford guy regarding the school teaching and how to manage these activities in a virtual classroom. So yes, these games, videos, all these are good resources, especially in these days when we have to have the online classroom. Dr. Hashmi, please let me know when the time is up, because if you don't tell me, I will keep talking and talking for the whole day.
I texted a minute before that you have just 5 more minutes.
All right. Okay.
Okay,
It's
5 more
fine.
minutes, and then we'll
Yeah,
take
fine.
question and answers if anybody has any. Okay.
Sure, sure, sure. So let's try to conclude it. Uh, I think online education is not easy, number one. I also think, now let's talk some straight things. I also think that educational managers, for example, are whatever they are called, like, for example, in my part of the world, vice deans, or in schools, principals, vice principals, academic coordinators, section heads, whatever. Please do not think that this online education is something so easy that teachers are always free. No, they aren't. They need to realize that they aren't. Number one. Number two, please take note that parents are not all trained for this online education. Do not push parents so much. At least here with my kids, these international schools are pushing the parents every time. Take it easy on parents' part as well, because they also have so many tasks to do. They have so many things to do. So try to take it easy, and try to motivate parents as well. There's no problem in taking parents' queries, guiding them how to use the tool. If they are so frustrated about this online thing, try to make them calm and try to tell them that, look, this is just a transition, this is just temporary, and inshallah we'll be back as normal. Sometimes parents always say that this online education is just a tool for schools to get fees. No, I absolutely disagree with it. If there are no online classes, there's no physical classroom, of course kids will be only wasting their time in gadgets. So something is better than nothing. This fee thing is another issue that I don't want to discuss. But engaging students at least for some hours, at least maybe if for a couple of hours, if students are engaged in something constructive, something educational, that's good as compared to doing nothing. You see, so parents, we as teachers need to make parents understand that this is important. Try to engage the students. This fees issue is between the parents and the school management, but teachers' role is to keep the parents motivated as well. This is also very important. And last, teachers should also keep themselves motivated rather than taking them as a duty. These activities, online teaching, try to take this as new experience of learning. And of course, these will keep us motivated, and these activities will keep us engaged in constant learning as well. So this is what I wanted to share. The forum is now with Dr. Hashmi.
Thank you so much, Dr. Najeeb, for sharing all the
Most
insights with
welcome.
us. I think it was quite an insightful session for most of us. I personally agree with
Thank
the
you.
number of ideas that you have shared, that online teaching definitely is not easy, and we definitely are
Yeah.
struggling, no matter how high tech or high technology savvy we were earlier. But this teaching and learning has
Yes.
changed the complete paradigm of technology. So
That's
irrespective
right.
who we are,
That's
at
right.
what level we are teaching, we are equally struggling, equally.
Yes.
Yesterday only,
Yes.
I had a seminar, and believe me, the webinar, and my presenter was in Gilgit, and the amount of technical
Oh.
glitches that we had, uh,
Mm,
really, we were unable to cope with that. And you see, these are all learnings. The same is the case with our online classroom teachings. Parents have a different views about it. Teachers have different, because everything happened so abruptly, I would say. Because you see, it
yes.
just happened at a
Yes.
click of a finger overnight, and this overnight shift
That's right.
actually made all of us go into a trauma. So that is what we are
That's
now
right.
trying. That is what, as teachers community, we are trying to help each other, support each other, and above everything, counsel each other. This is something that is not to
Yes.
be scared of. This is something that we need to
That's right.
develop the skill of, and skill comes in
Yes.
when we practice. So definitely we will be making
Agreed.
mistakes makes us better. We are moving towards,
Yes.
I won't say perfection, but we are actually moving towards it. So that readiness that we
That's right.
had earlier of using technology is slowly and gradually moving away. So I have
That's
something, a
right.
comment here, Dr. T, for you, before
Yes,
I
sir.
share something else. So let's see.
There's a lot of internet. Uh-huh.
Yes.
So schools prefer recording. Yes, 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 yes. Having their
Yes,
classroom
yes,
time,
yes.
students and can watch as per their feasibility. Yes.
Yes.
Uh, if you ask me, uh, in at the kindergarten level, here even in international schools, they are using the same technique of recording their videos. I give example of my own family, not me, but my sister. Her son is studying in the Springfield school. So what she asks her son, although they're having the online lecture, but she says that wear school uniform and sit and attend the lecture in school uniform so that you can maintain the proper school environment in your room, which makes him serious. So look, it depends. If you have problems in internet connection with the school, or it's not possible for online class, of course something is better than nothing. Record the lectures. There's one more technique that teachers are called in the school one by one, and they record their lectures in the classroom on the boards, which may create some kind of learning environment rather than giving or recording lecture from your room. Teachers are called in schools one by one, or maybe few by few in a group, and they record their lectures in the same classroom so that the students can also get motivated by seeing their own classroom. So that is, of course, there's no other way. We have to do it.
Right. Any other questions, anybody, or any other comments before we say thank you to Dr. Najeeb? We just have about 2-3 more minutes. So, anyone? Huma, just to answer your question, because this is a very recent experience that I had, the network that I'm associated with, their school, that particular school of that network, has started recording the videos. Now, this is basically the cadre, the group of people, the socioeconomic status that is coming to them is slightly lower as compared to the elite ones. So for them, getting a gadget is actually a problem. If they have 4 siblings studying together, providing one laptop to each is another problem. So what the school has collectively done, that they have made these videos, which are recorded sessions with the activities attached. So what they're doing, they're posting it on their LMS, and they have made a hard copy file of all the activities that are attached to those recorded lessons. So they are provided to the students and parents for a fortnight, 15 days. They work this out, they submit the hard copies, and the lessons for the next 15 days are recorded and then given to them in a CD form, so that it's easier for them, sometimes in USB, sometimes in CD, sometimes it's just WhatsApping the link, so that it's easier for the parents to get a hang of it. Well, I think there are no more queries or comments. So, Dr. Najeeb, I think we have come to the end. It was a very, very interesting session. Thank you very much for taking out time. Thank you very much for being here from all the way from Riyadh. We will definitely be having you. No, you're most welcome. I'm sure you must have a good time with us. Okay, there's something.
Yes.
One more. So let's take that before I say thank you and bye. Okay, we'll have to show you. Just privacy, because there are different conversation between the language and the internet is connection. Okay. Yes.
Well, yes, that is natural. I call it natural. This is natural. No problem. I made it unnatural today by shutting down the door. My son was here, but I shut down the door. But this is unnatural. Sometimes in physical classrooms, there are some problems like that. Sometimes there's somebody coming in the class. There's somebody who is calling a teacher. There's somebody with a notice coming to the class. So this is all part of this process. No problem. Internet connection is a problem, and we have no control over it.
Amna, just to answer your question, because Dr. Najeeb has already shared it. See, the kind of houses that we are into, we never had this technology-oriented learning or working environment ever. So the kind of houses that we have are very different. It's a kind of a very conventional, regular homes where we have open doors, open rooms, everybody walking in, going in, coming in, bells ringing all the time. So that's a part of life. But I think this COVID situation, this pandemic for the past 4.5 months, now the 5th month, has actually helped all of us understand the importance. So while we are there at home, everybody, be it a parent, be it your siblings, be it your elder brothers, sisters, husband, wife, whosoever is working online, now they have really understood the importance. So if somebody is actually doing it, the others try to remain quiet at least they try to. And that's also a kind of a support which we are providing to each other. So this all comes with mutual understanding, mutual support when we start giving it to all. So thank you, Dr. Najeeb. With this, we come to an end. Everybody, thank you very much. As I always say, your support is really overwhelming. You're always there with me, with us. We'll continue to bring new ideas to you through our platform. We will continue to give you skilled based education that we really intend to. Please stay happy, stay blessed, and spread positivity around. Thank you, and Allah Hafiz.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum.